Let's simplify the best witch attack at Town Hall 13, the Yeti witch attack strategy, and how you can earn more 3 stars consistently. What's going on, my friends? My name's Corrupt. If you are looking for the easiest witch attack at Town Hall 13, look no further to the Yeti witch attack strategy. Now, the base identification is very simple. Mainly, you want to focus in on the scatter shot placement and the town hall placement, along with the Inferno Tower mode and the Eagle Artillery. Now, the main goal for your attack is you are going to be using 8 earthquake spells. So you do want to start moving all the way through the base. First quad quake at the beginning, and then another one around an area where you're going to be able to move all the way across. You could even use 4 earthquake on the town hall, so the log launcher can actually get it down to either right like 1 or a couple HP, or even take it down from a distance. So you do want to consider those factors if you plan on using this. Now, you always want to go in for the Eagle Artillery first. So that first earthquake that you'll see is going to be going in for an area close to the Eagle Artillery. This first earthquake opening up the beginning part and also allowing them to open it up to the Eagle Artillery. And also using another 4 earthquake spells in order to get through the other back end part of the base. So at this point, you're able to start creating the funnel. This way, you're going to be using a couple Yetis and Witches on either side in order to control where your Yetis are going, and then you could use all the rest of your Yetis, your Witches, and then also your heroes and log launcher to start moving themselves through the base. You want to really consider all of that. The Yetis here at Town Hall 13 are really strong and can handle a lot of damage. So you do want to try and consider that as much as possible. But as you're able to move through, you do want to use your Grand Warden ability early in order to make sure that you're able to protect the log launcher, some Yetis, some Witches, and maybe your heroes included. You will be using the Royal Champ on one side of the base to provide support. So if you see that the king is moving off on the outside, you can use the Royal Champ there to provide a lot more support. So you do want to consider all of those factors when you are running this attack. Along with this, you do want troops in the core of the base. If you don't have any going in, you are probably going to be screwed. So you do want to make sure that you are able to move your way through. You've got Yetis from either the log launcher or from your army composition, so you can continue to move through with the use of the Yetis. Now, the rage spells, you should be using 1 at the beginning and 1 after the log launcher pops. That way, you're able to provide a lot of support for your heroes, Witches, and any other Yetis that you already have. Now, the best part here is the Yetis can provide so much tankage that they can keep all of these Witches still up. Look at all of those skeletons there. But the main idea is this is a very strong attack strategy. It is consistent and it really can wreck through a lot of bases. Sometimes, unfortunately, you may have your Yetis and Witches completely get evaporated, so you do want to be very prepared for that. But the main idea is in order to get through these bases, you got to understand the fundamentals, and that is exactly what this first example will give you. But also, let's look at an anti-2-star. Now, versus an anti-2-star base, it's a little bit different. First and foremost, you may notice that the CC is lurable, but that is not an ideal area to enter into. Instead, you mainly want to look, again, where is the Eagle Artillery? And it's right down in this area, mainly right by some scatter shots. That's really, really good. Another thing that you want to make sure that you're doing is you're moving yourself across. So you want to try and open up as many of the walls as possible while also opening up the back end side of the base for your Witches to move through. So you're going to start with the 8 earthquake spells. The first 4 are going to be used to open up where the Eagle Artillery is and get some free damage on it. Then you're also going to be using another set of earthquake spells to get through the back end part and activate the town hall while dealing damage. That way, what you're able to do is start creating the funnel on 2 different sides, using a Yeti and a couple Witches, and doing the same thing on the other side. You could even bring a baby dragon if you would like, in order to kind of help control a little bit more of an area. Overall though, you want to make sure that you're sending in your Yetis and your witches along with your heroes within a line. Going into expos is usually fairly daunting, but using a rage spell and having them move through allows you to have your heroes, your warden ability, and also able to continue to move your way through the base. That warden ability being used to protect as much as possible, and you can use the Royal Champion on the back end part of the base, or using it on the side where you feel that the heroes and the Yetis and witches will need the most help with. And you can see from here, almost got through the town hall with the use of the log launcher. The Yeti mites will be able to finish taking care of it, and that just leaves the rest of the base up. Even though he's lost a lot of witches from both the core of the base and from the left and right, he still has a couple Yetis going in this direction. That may not last. So you do want to be really, really careful with a lot of different things. Even if the base has single target infernos, you are hitting a really hard part of the base, since that's where all the scatters, the eagle, the expos are. So you always want to consider those things. But being able to make sure that you want to make sense of it all, even if it comes down to your heroes and maybe a couple Yetis, you do want to try and make that a factor. But overall, you should be able to get through something like this with no problem. Of course, are there some fixes? Yes, you do want to make some fixes throughout your attack. So if this was a high percentage 2-star, you do want to try and make those fixes, like getting a lot of stuff to go into the core and not just go around. But you always want to consider those things so you're able to start moving your way across and making it so much easier for the rest of your attack, so you can actually get a triple, even if it comes down to only having a barbarian, archer queen, an archer, and the grand warden. Now, there are a couple mistakes that you do want to try to avoid when you're using this attack. Mainly being, if you do plan on using it, you want to make sure that you have witches and maybe heroes and Yetis going into the core. You don't just want all of them going on either the left or just the right side. You want an even split going through both and into the middle. That means you're going to be using the 8 earthquake spells to open up an area, but if you don't get anything to go in there, so no Yetis, not many witches, no heroes, that can provide a lot less support, but it can still work out in your favor. You also want to make sure that you are using the witches right after the heroes and the Yetis. You don't want to wait on them, or else that's going to provide a lot less support for your attack. So overall, you want to try and think about those things when you're using this. So remember, if you do plan on using this attack strategy, you are using the log launcher. So using the 8 earthquake spells to open up 2 different areas, one at the beginning, that's very important, and one opening up towards the back end of the base, where you're able to activate the town hall, get some damage on it. Now, you've also got the Royal Champion, and like I've said before, you're going to use the Royal Champ to provide a lot more support with a couple other units. That way, you're able to provide a lot more support for the entire attack as a whole. Mostly, it's not going to be going through the middle, but going through the left and the right side. Now, the main thing is to be able to make sure that you're creating the funnel. So remember, you're going to be using a couple witches and a Yeti on one side, and you're going to do the same thing down at the bottom side in terms of this base specifically. Then you're going to be able to send in your Yetis, your heroes, and your witches along with the log launcher to start moving straight the way through the base. Now, in terms of this one, it's not going to go exactly to plan, losing all of the witches and the Yetis from both sides of the funnel and leaving only the Yetis here along with the heroes and the log launcher. Now, this is where I would not wait on your witches. Place them immediately. Your Yetis will be dying very quickly if you don't have your heroes with them. And unfortunately, in this case here, due to the wall being opened, a lot of the heroes are going to move themselves down this direction, since there are buildings still up. You can, of course, try to save it by going in and using the Royal Champion to provide a little bit more support, but you do want to try and use that Grand Warden ability over the Log Launcher. Unfortunately, the Log Launcher did pop, only allowing the Yetis here to go into the core, dealing with the enemy CC, but you want to make it very simple for you. So you want to make sure that you've got a lot of troops going in. If you don't have anything going in, that could really hurt your attack. But in this case, it might not hurt him nearly as much, because he's already gotten rid of this part of the base, meaning that everything can just go all the way around and then reach over to the town hall while still having some witches. He still has a rage and he still has the queen ability. that does allow a lot more support. Now, this may happen to anyone, not just this attacker. It could happen to you. So you do want to try and be very careful about those things. This is a very risky attack, especially going in away from the Town Hall. So if you're seeing a lot of anti-2-star bases, this attack works perfectly. But if you are going up against anti-3-stars, this could be a very, very big dilemma that you will have to succumb to. So you do want to make sure that you are able to still easily get through a triple, but you want to try and avoid making those simple mistakes so you can get more 3-stars with this attack. Now, if you don't want to use the Yeti Witches, you can always bring in the use of Super Witches. Using a Super Witch Slap with the use of a Grand Warden Walk and also the use of the Zap Quake to get through a multi or single Inferno, that allows you to create a funnel on 2 different sides so you can send them into the alleyway. Now, on dealing with a island base, you can bring the use of a blimp to get through something like the Eagle Artillery if it's towards the back end side of the base, so you can really provide a lot more support and moving into the Town Hall with the Super Witches. Pretty much you have a lot of different options. Normally you want to start with the use of the Grand Warden Walk. You're going to be using him with a couple wizards to create the funnel and make it a little bit more simple for you to start working your way in. You're also going to use the lightning spells over towards the top in order to get through a particular area. Using the 4 lightning to get rid of the Inferno is going to help your attack big time. You could also create the other side of the funnel with a couple baby dragons and balloons in order to make sure that you are able to sort of at least get that side of the funnel down so you can start sending in your Super Witches, making sure that you're able to work them into an alleyway to take advantage of it, especially if it's something like an island base. Now, being able to take advantage of this is incredibly important. Having your king and also a couple other units to create the funnel, allowing you to have an easy lane to move in, using that first freeze to protect some of the Super Witches as you start to work your way into the base. You're going to use that rage spell in order to push your way into the base, dealing with the enemy CC and using the Grand Warden ability. Now, at this point, you may also want to use the Battle Blimp to get through the Eagle Artillery along with using the Royal Champion. That way, what you're able to do is get rid of a very far away Eagle Artillery and having the Royal Champ provide a lot of support. While everything is still moving through, you may have the use of that Royal Champ ability still, but you also will have Witches, and even if they get sort of spun around by a tornado trap, you will still have some of those Super Witches still remaining to get rid of it. Just be very careful that the healers will drop like flies if you do not take care of that Town Hall or you don't drop a free spell on it. Overall, the main thing should be to move through the base swiftly, and the Super Witches can do just that. The Yeti Bomb can take care of either the Town Hall or an Eagle, and you've got the Royal Champ to use on the back end side of the base, so you're able to move your way in. Super Witches are a great strategy if you don't want to use the other type of attacks that I've shown. Of course, this wasn't a max base, but you can still wreck any type of base for the most part with Super Witches here at Town Hall 13. Let me know what you think about the Yeti Witch Attack Strategy down in the comments below. Make sure to also subscribe and ring the bell if you want to become a better attacker that'll earn more 3-stars, and make sure to also go ahead and use code CORRUPT in the Clash of Clans shop or any Supercell game, and I'll catch you in the next video. Corrupt, signing out.